Hello, it is Robin here from Hooking Outside the Lines, and I have two pieces. This is one of them, and my big rooster is another one. And today I would just go through the basics of getting these pieces off of the frames, ready for hemming and steaming and whatever other finishing you might want to do. So first of all, this is just a 12 by 12. The punching is on this side. I actually realized I haven't trimmed all my tails. There's some tails up here, but I can do that after. So just to review, um, your fabric should be drum tight if you're punching. If you're hooking, it doesn't matter so much, but if you are punching with Oxford Punch, the monk's cloth should be stretched so tight that you can see the weave getting stuck in the gripper strips. So don't be afraid of that when you're starting your project. And at the end, it should still be drum tight because it should have held if you're using gripper strips. And if you're not, then you pull it in a hoop constantly to keep the tension on it the whole time. Now I'm going to show you on this piece, and then I'm going to show you on the big piece about sort of releasing it from the gripper strip frame. So I'm going to lower my camera. I'm hoping you can see it here. So again, this side, what I mean by release is I kind of pull it away from the hem and then let go. Pull it away from the frame and then let go. And the reason that it sort of lets go is because those grippers are on a curve here. They are curved facing out. So if I just pull up, I'm just really pulling on the monk's cloth through those grippers. Whereas by pulling it away, they are literally letting go. Now, once the first side is off, the rest really is much, much easier. And you'll see that on the third piece as well. So I have two. There we go. And again, I still pull it up and away from the frame. And then the last one, I'm just going to kind of roll, and that should just peel right off. Now, if these bother you, you can just use your nail or the tip of your punch needle when it's flat and even them out again. And your piece should, I don't want to get caught on this, I'm going to move that. It will have some sort of curl to it, but if you've spaced your loops out, you've done your correct stitch gauge, it should lay relatively flat. That's the back side, and let's see the front side. Again, I knew I had some tails that I'd left. It is looking pretty good. I'm quite happy with it. I will poke in place, so I will go through every little one to make sure there's no loop overs where the loops literally get intertwined, which again is a normal part of the process. And if you're wondering, I'm not sure how visible this is on camera, but the yellow was done in a number 13, and the charcoal, or the coal, actually it's called, no, cast iron. I think this is cast iron, the dark gray. It is done with a number 14 fine. So it just, if, again, I can see it here, but I'm not sure if it's translating on camera. There's just a very slight textural difference so that my yellow would stand up a little bit more. And this is going to be a pillow top. Let me know if you'd like the pattern and or kit. I think this would be great with any two colors of Violet Jane. It takes almost two skeins, so one of each color, and you have, it's probably a finished size of 13 by 13. I think my pattern was, here we go, measure it properly. Yeah, just over 13 actually. So my pattern was 12 to start, but with stretching, it works out to about 13. So that'll be a nice pillow. I might put a border on it in fabric, so it would be larger. So that is that piece. Now I'm going to show you this piece, and this piece is much larger than my frame. So there is this row. Let me take off this. This is just an old cover. I should get a new cover because I have much nicer ones now. These are on the gripper strips. This part here is on gripper strips. So I want to be careful not to pull out any of my loops along here. And so I want to show you how we do that. So again, we release the monk's cloth from the other sides, and we do the ones that are on the gripper strip last. Now this was a big piece of monk's cloth just because it's what I had. You don't need to leave this much blank monk's cloth. That was just, again, sometimes you just have a piece and it's what you got to use. So that is what I use. So I'm pulling away and pulling up. I'm going to have to stand up for this. corner released. So this again is the part that is on the monk's cloth. So I'm going to roll the last side back and hope that there's no pulling of loops. And again, if there is one or two, we're not going to sweat about it. I'm just rolling it off gently, and it goes with the curve of the frame. And so the gripper strips were here. Let's unfold it. And I'm just going to move you back a little bit. And it was right through here because it hid my rooster's face. And there you go. I am pretty pleased with that. I feel like it is not obvious where the, let me just see, sorry, let me see if I can get the better shot. It's not obvious where the gripper strips were. I can't really tell, and I did have to move it twice. So the grippers have been in 2 locations on here. There's some tails that popped up, which is fine. And this was the side I just finished. So again, I'm going to poke in place, make sure all the loops are where I want them. I'm only going to very lightly press this one because, and again, I'll see if I can show you the texture in here, but I played with a lot of texture. So this, the comb of the rooster is from 14 to 8, so you can really feel the texture sort of coming up in here. I've done lots of different textures in the flowers, which are a mix of Violet Jane yarn and sari silk. In the rooster himself, there is rug weight yarn in Violet Jane, there's sari silk, and there is wool fabric strips, which all punched, and fine yarn. So it's a mix of fine yarn, rug weight yarn, sari, and probably a number 7 wool strip that I use my number 10 for. And again, even in my leaves here, again, there's tails that still need to be trimmed. There is a lot of texture from 14, 13 to number 10 fine, and the sari silk, which I use a regular size punch needle. So yeah, a real mix of things. People have been asking me about the pattern for this. I just remind you, it is the, it's a McAdoo pattern. And the McAdoo patterns are owned by the Oxford Company. I don't believe this one is for sale yet on their website. They have a huge, huge inventory of McAdoo patterns, hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands. I don't know. And this was one I had available when I went to the rug school several years ago before the transition. So if you want it, you would need to reach out to the Oxford Company and see if they can. This is not a kit either. These are my colors and my, again, a mix of Violet Jane and sari silk. And I do want to point out, sometimes, you know, the little stories in these rugs are fun. These 2 pots, so both of the terracotta pots, when I was there, again, several years ago doing my advanced certification, at that time, Amy would let us trace out a pattern when we were there for a week. And so this was the pattern I chose. And I just bought a few skeins of wool. And because this was 4 years ago, maybe now, 5 years ago. And I chose a couple of these terracotta pot colors from their original Violet Jane. And so it's just so interesting to see the difference in texture. The original Violet Jane, when it was spun and made in Vermont, it is much rougher and more matte, if you will. Like the finish of it is more matte, which is kind of perfect that it was for the terracotta pots. So I did buy these 2 colors there, and they are both these sort of more matte colors. Still beautiful. I love them. But it's just sort of different from the newer Violet Jane, which has a bit more of a sheen to it, a bit softer to the touch. I just love it. I just absolutely love it. But I will be sort of tweaking these, finishing them up, and then hemming it. And I don't know what my next big project is going to be. I need to know. I always like to have a fun, just for me project, just this, not for sale. It's just for me, that I punch in between sort of projects when I'm making kits and projects that I do sell. So yeah, I don't know what's next. I do have another big pattern from the Oxford Company Um, that again I got several years ago at an auction at the Teachers Guild. We do fundraisers, and I did buy a big pattern. I even have to find the pattern, so I think it's a duck or goose. Anyway, it seemed to have a feather theme or bird theme in those big rugs I'm doing. Anyway, more to come. If you have questions about putting it on the gripper strip frame or taking it off, let me know and see if I can clarify any of that. But it can be done, and it can be done without pulling all the loops. You just go slowly and carefully, and use quality materials so that the yarn itself, I'm not using super fuzzy, I'm not using acrylic, because sometimes those things really get stuck in the teeth of the grippers and don't play nice. Um, so this is how I get around that with all these materials. You wouldn't even know that it was on the gripper strip frame. Yeah, thanks for watching. Have a great day.